Number 5, the LG G4. This is the luxury leather on a smartphone that tries to please everyone. LG has tried to focus on what everyone actually wants out of a smartphone: a great looking design, color-rich display, and a great camera for photos. But it doesn't quite deliver as impressively as we'd hoped. Don't let that put you off though. There's a lot going on with the LG G4, and for the most part it's rather positive indeed. The leather back is much nicer than the plastic option, and it will make your phone stand out among the swath of glass and metal offerings. Its large, expansive screen is one of the best on the market. The 16-megapixel laser autofocus camera takes some cracking shots, and the rear buttons are easier to hit on a handset this size. As usual, LG has offered us a phone that's got a brilliant spec list at a phenomenally low price. If you're after something a bit different, this is a great choice. Now typically, the LG G4 runs on some basic specs of having an Android 5.1 OS with a 5.5-inch screen size, a resolution of around 2560 by 1440. It has 3 GB of RAM and can store up to 32 GB. Its battery is a simple removable 3000 mAh and a rear camera of 16 megapixel with a front camera of 8 megapixel. Not bad, LG. Coming in at number 4 is the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. This is curving into the future with impressive specs. With the new Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, this runs on Android 5.0.2. It has a 5.1-inch screen size and a resolution of around 1440p. Its RAM is that like the LG, which is 3 GB. Its storage can come in 32, 64, or 128 GB. The battery is a 2560 mAh, unlike the LG. It has a rear camera of 16 megapixel as well as a front camera of 5 megapixel. The Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge has all the power and features of the tabletop S6, but does it with little extra flair thanks to the curved edges on each side. They're pretty much aesthetics as they don't add a huge amount of functionality, but if you're going on looks alone, the S6 Edge has them in spades. The price is $100 higher though, making it $300 on contract and $700 for the full price option. That's a lot to pay. That is why it doesn't join its twin brother at the top of the chart. But if you're after something that's wildly different from anything else with a great feature set and tip-top camera, this is probably your best phone choice. Coming in at number 3 is the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. And it's as slick as its glass back. Take note of this high-ranking Samsung phablet. Tablet? Phone? Something. Because it's the best phone we've tested with a spacious 5.7-inch display, and it has the best display of any platform right now, period. Some unfortunate things are that the battery life is no longer swappable, and there's no micro SD card slot. While some longtime fans are vocal about these two key missing features, the Galaxy Note 5 is still split screen mode and the best camera, which is tied with the Samsung Galaxy S6 that has the same module. It's more expensive than other phones, but the inches you get in return may be worth the price you pay for a most trusted monitor. Coming in at number 2, the iPhone 6s. Bigger, better, sleeker, and faster than the iPhone 6. Now, what can you say about any new iPhone? Most people are already decided about whether they're going to buy the new model before it's even announced, but that hasn't stopped us giving it a thoroughly good going over. The good points are the same as usual. A hugely powerful phone with a great camera, and the new 3D touch interface is genuinely useful and will only continue to get better as time goes on. The chassis is identical to the previous iPhone 6, which will irk some and might force them to wait for the iPhone 7, but it's still well designed. The battery life itself is actually a little shorter just to be able to fit the motor for the 3D touch, and is the biggest issue with the phone itself. That said, it's still a brilliant phone, and the phone that loads of users are desperate to get their hands on. The iPhone 6s obviously has iOS 9. It has a 4.7-inch screen size, which is great. It has a 1334 by 750 resolution, only 2 gigabytes of RAM, and its storage can range from 16 all the way up to 128, with only 64 being the middle. It has a battery of 1750 mAh with a rear camera of only 12 megapixels and a front camera of only 5 megapixels. Coming in at number 1 is the Samsung Galaxy S6. The Samsung Galaxy S6 is a brilliant phone that shows Samsung still has what it takes. It runs on Android 5 with a 5.1-inch screen size, a resolution of 1440 by 2560, and 3 gigabytes of RAM. Its storage can range from 32 gigabytes all the way up to 128 with 64 in between. It has a battery of a 2550 mAh and a rear camera of 16 megapixels with a 5 megapixel front camera. While last year's Galaxy S5 was nothing special, but extra bells and whistles, this year's Samsung started from the ground up to make a truly wonderful smartphone. The camera is absolutely superb, and the audio and video quality brilliant, and the QHD display crammed into the 5.1-inch screen is the sharpest on the market by far, although it does suck down a lot of battery rather quickly. The design is finally something we're pleased to hold in our hand rather than the plastic cheapness of last year, in our opinion. It has a refined TouchWiz overlay, and it's a lot nicer to use. It's actually extended its lead at the top thanks to some amazing price drops, so you can now get the best phone on the market for an incredibly low price these days, which is a no-brainer for anyone.